Looking here at these lift levers, so there's two loose bolts there. Now if we look over here at the gold belly, this is different than a Massey 35, but you should have the inside one, I think, is something like that, and the outside one is different. So I have the correct ones bought for it. So the idea of that is, if you were ploughing, that if you didn't want it to go down the whole way to the ground, that you'd be able to set that. And similarly here for the draft control, for how sensitive you want your hydraulics to lift. You know, if it hits the root of a tree or something, or a stone, you can adjust that. So another job I can be going on with is to take them out. Two of them there. I have my parts, small parts here. So Massey 35 has one like so, and the other one is this. So I'll have to look on the internet to see which one's which. Oops, that's the jack. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, this one goes in there, the black plastic one, and the draft control one goes there. I look on the internet to confirm that, but I know for the Massey it's one of each. So that alone will tidy it up and get rid of these things rattling around. So this is your draft and this is your lift position. So I also bought decals for there. That'll go over them. A bit clearer than that. So yeah, we'll be able to, that's a gutter bolt in the bottom there. So you know my feelings on gutter bolts. They're grand when they come out, but sure, you can't grip the inside one there really at all. And it seems to be spinning a bit. So it's going to be fun to get it out, but I'll be able to get a hacksaw in behind there and do a nice neat cut. The top one is a bolt, so we'll be able to, don't really know why they fitted a bolt, because you know, you need to be able to adjust this on the go. Like, you know, there's times when you will, if you're using a grubber or whatever, you know, you'd need to be able to loosen something easy, whereas a bolt, you need two spanners, it's awkward. So yeah, they'll have to come out. That lad there is okay, he's original, kind of a plastic kind of a washer on him. I think that's the very, very lowest setting you can have it set to, yeah, so that's okay. So yeah, there are two little jobs I can be going on it. That's fitted. This is your draft control. Got the two bolts off, and you can adjust that separately like that. You loosen it then, and you can work them together. And then this one here adjusts how low you actually want the lift to go. Now I see another little issue here. This is the wrong bolt in there, so we'll do a little job again. The gutter bolt, so it should be something neater that allows that to go down behind there. So that's the idea of it anyway. So we'll tidy that up and put a shorter bolt in there, so it's not hitting the top of that, it's going in behind it. And this then becomes your level adjustment for the lowest setting that you want if you're using certain implements. So that's two more parts back on the tractor and two wrong parts off the tractor. And we'll just sort that gutter bolt there, because again, when they seize, you know, like both of these sheared off. When I put the vice grips on one side and the socket, they actually both sheared off. And I have a feeling that one could be the same there. Not as bad, but it definitely needs to be a shorter bolt in there. But anyway, that's an improvement. So what I will do at the end is I'll put the decals on there with all the instructions for draft and height and position and all of that. But that'll be one of the last jobs I do. Ahead and given the steering arm, this is the right hand side, shot blast and a clean down. I'll do the left hand side separately because I don't want to mix them up. So I'm not videoing every single thing that I'm shot blasting and stuff like that, because I'll be able to show when it's painted. I suppose that'll be enough. But yeah, I am going to give these a second coat today, and this stuff dries very quickly. It's really warm in here today because it's a sunny day, and it's always warmer in here than outside for some reason. So they won't be long drying. And tomorrow then I'm going to give them their first coat of grey after they get the second coat today and they dry. That is the plan. I'm not sure whether I'm going to go and paint these track rods, because I'll have to do a bit of adjusting. But if I get them primed at least, and well primed, I can always top up the primer if I have to, you know, turn them, we'll say, with a tool, we'll say, to adjust the track rods. I hope to be able to just adjust the track rods themselves, but I will have to grip these with something. So I will put a rag around them, but for that reason I'm not going to put the overcoat or the finishing coat on them until I am happy with the steering. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bag off the track rod ends, tape them off as well, and just paint these. And I might varnish the track rod ends. I like that look personally, rather than going painting all, you know, along threads and stuff. So that's the plan. That's where we're at. I am experimenting here because this was rattling and was closed. I've just put a bit of rubber there. It's one of these rubbers that has it's a bit sticky on the back, and now it's taken the rattle out of that. So when the other one of them arrives, I'll put a similar strip here as well, and that just takes the rattle, because I noticed with these as well, they're just a bit too high. Yes, I could put washers underneath them, but you still end up having metal on metal, still end up going to wear in the paint, and so I think this is the best way out of that. So we're slowly getting rattles out of the bonnet, so it's going to be a bit better. And of course, because I have that rubber mounted, I'll do the same with this one when it arrives. So that is it. I'll probably paint the air filter as well. I'm just looking at it there because I have a decal for down here, a sticker decal with just instructions like wash daily or wash after. I forget what's on it, but it's meant to be on it. So I'll take that off, and I see as well there's a bit too much of a kink in this pipe, so I'll let it down a little bit. Maybe that bracket is meant to be under there. I'll play around it to get it right anyway. So that should be painted, should be grey, so I'm going to do that as well. So I might just take that off now and get it ready. Got the two knobs sorted. I have to take out this lad here. So I put in actually a big wide flathead screwdriver there, and I tried to twist it and tried to loosen off the nut, and of course the screwdriver's just popping out because they're really shallow slots. So the only other option with these is to put on the vice grips and try and loosen off the nut. Now the other two just sheared off, they just snapped off. They're very soft metal. If you see these on your tractor, these gutter bolts, they're called gutter bolts for a reason, for gutters. I actually don't even use them for gutters. I use stainless steel bolts, because when these things rust, you're never going to get them off unless you cut them, or unless you're lucky enough that you get a vice grips onto that there. So I'm going to put the vice grips on. If not, there's enough of a gap there to put a hacksaw in the cutter. The thing is, the other two, you grab it with the vice grips, and after a while it just shears, because the other side of them, the nut gets so rusted and there's paint and everything. So just take them off and take the time to fit on nice proper bolts. Get yourself a nice stainless steel coach bolt with a square in the back. The square will fit into that, stop it turning, put on a nice wing nut. That way these can be adjusted. This can be adjusted, the tension on that can be adjusted on the go. They're not faffing around then with seized on nuts and bolts. So that's what I do. So that should then finish all. So we have the inner adjustable knob on, and we've this as well. And because the bolt that was going through there was too long, it was hitting off the top of that and stopping that really being effective. So let's get this fitted and see what it looks like. Through my box, there's a nice rubber lad there. So what we do is take our coach bolt. That seems to be about the width. So widen the hole a little bit. See that do? Yeah, I might just go to the next one just to make it a little easier to fit. Or will we? No, we'll leave that. I'll leave that. That's just nice. Just nice. So we'll put this all back together now. Okay, let's see, how are we doing here? Tripod is, oh yes, on a tool there. So in with our coach bolt from the back. from the back. Get the square into the slot, and then we have fit a rubber lad in there. Actually is what we'll do first. Stop this paint getting scratched. Pull it back a little bit just to get the lever lined up. Hard to see what I'm doing here. Probably should have put a bigger hole in that, but it'll be nice and snug. So it's turned a bit more to get the slot in there. And then we can put, I get the normal washer now and come back. A nice shiny washer then that goes over there. And then finally our wing nut here. I wouldn't be against a man putting a bit of grease on that either, but they won't really need it. Because I had to cut this coach bolt, it's just going to be a little bit awkward to start it. I did make sure I cut it with the coach bolt on so I could use that to kind of sort the threads out. So let's see if we can get it started. If not, I'll just put it in the vise, and the end probably just needs to be tidied up with a file at most. There we go. So yeah, that's the way it's meant to be. You know, it'll make a bit of a noise because that square is rubbing in there, but and the lever is slightly bent as well. That's not helping things either. So I might have to straighten that lever a bit to get it pulling a bit level on the just need a bit of time to work its way. Yeah, that lever definitely is a little bit bent, so I might have a look at straightening that, and that'll make this then easy. Of course, these all do get bent as well in there, you know. When you actually do try and do a nice job on them, then, you know, you're sometimes up against that. But yeah, if I straighten that a little bit, just give it a twist clockwise ever so slightly, it'll straighten that up and take the pressure off it, because at the moment it's a bit like this kind of so that's what I'll do there now. Put a rag around that, get a grip on it and give it a little twist. There you go. Straighten it up, and now you can tension it up a little bit more. It's a little bit more catchy, so you loosen it off to wherever you want. So I'm going to call that a job done. And again, what I like about this job is because I put the right length bolt on it. If you wanted, for example, to keep up the socket lifts dropping for complete going right down, you'll be able to use this as a stop. If you tighten this up first, of course. So tighten him up like that, and you bring it down, and now our lever is touching that exactly the way it's meant to do. Whereas before the nut was too long, it was hitting up here. So that is good. I just want to make sure one thing's happening here now. I had to put a washer behind here because it wasn't supplied. I just want to tighten it up fully and see is it still moving. No, it's fine. Or is it a little bit loose? So I'll put a thicker washer behind this, and that'll mean that's tight. Again, this is just one of them things with the aftermarket parts. It's just a little bit, you know, you do sometimes have to go a little bit further. So I'll take that off and put a thicker washer behind it. And there we go. So what was happening here with this, and I should remember from my own one, they didn't actually tread the shaft and down far enough. So you tighten it up here, and it would feel like it's tight, but it was actually still rattling. So now we're done. So yeah, we're coming across small little issues and we're sorting them on the hop, on the trot. So that's now working. Like, even if you were using your transfer box as a kind of a grading bucket, like, you might want to adjust this, just stop the lift going right down and just take a skim of gravel off a driveway, and this one here is working good as well. So this is your draft side of things. So You can loosen them up and you can bring them up, and then you can tighten it, and then I think this one then works independent of the other one. So lovely, lovely. Now I've got decals for this, so I just want to I'll have to make sure that this lever doesn't scratch along there. Yeah, so look, we'll see. Ordered a set of these bonnet catches. These are a part that aren't really fitted by many people, and I don't know why, because what they do is the end goes in there, and there's one on the other side as well, and then it goes down into that slot. I'll try and get this, show the slot there now. See the slot there? The wing nut goes in there, and what I do is I put a nice rubber lad in front of the wing nut, so you don't have metal on metal, and it's just a little bit of give in that, enough give that it'll tighten up nice and snugly, and it'll keep the bonnet. It'll keep the bonnet held down. It'll keep all this in place because that's a little bit loose, and yeah, it'll just help quieten everything up a little bit. How it looks, it just literally sits in like that. You literally, that kind of an end on it, shove it in and let it hang down there. So we'll get this fitted, we'll get the rubber on as well, and we'll see what sort of a job it does on holding the bonnet down.